Okay, in the first two lessons we discussed triads and root position triads and their positions within a major scale. Now we're going to discuss the seventh chord, which is basically an extension of a triad. Remember, on a triad we had a root, a third, and a fifth. A seventh chord will continue that pattern of thirds and add a 7 on top of the chord. So we'll start again with the C chord. And if you remember, the C major triad added the major third on top of the C and a perfect fifth above the C as well. So that was our root position major triad C, E, and G, which gave us a C major chord. C, E, and G. On top of that, we can build the seventh scale degree, B. C being scale degree 1, D 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, B becomes 7. Okay. So just like we had a specific interval from C to E, which was our major third, and our perfect fifth from C to G, now we have a specific interval from C to B. If you remember, the major third was an interval of 4 half steps. The perfect fifth was an interval of 7 half steps. Now the C to B is going to be an interval of 11 half steps. Just shy of an octave. An octave is actually 12 half steps. So if I count up my intervals, my half steps from C, starting on C, C sharp is 1 half step away. D is 2 half steps away. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You'll notice the B natural is 11 half steps from C. So C to C, the octave would be 12 half steps. Okay? So it's basically as far as you can get from a C without starting the whole cycle over again. That 11 half step interval from the root is called a major seventh. So we already said we had a C major triad. Now we're adding a major 7 on top of that C major triad. So the full legal name, if you will, for this chord, this extended harmony, is a C major, major 7. Okay, you have to actually say major twice because there's 2 different types of majors in that particular harmony. Okay, C major, major 7. C, E, G, B natural. If I play it on the piano, there's our C major, major 7 harmony. We don't like to say major twice, it's redundant. So we're just going to call that a C major 7. Okay. Now if you remember, we also had a C minor triad, the root being C. I'm going to separate my chords here. The root being C. The third being flatted, so C, E flat, and then still having our perfect fifth G. Okay, so that chord was C minor, C, E flat, G. And if we add a 7th on top of that, what we're going to go ahead and do is flatten that 7th as well. By doing that, I get an interval of a minor seventh from the root to the B flat. Minor seventh, which is now 10 half steps. And remember when we had C to B natural, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 half steps. If we take it down a half step and flatten it to B flat, now it's only 10 half steps from the C. So now I have a C minor triad with a minor 7 on top. C minor, minor 7. There's our C minor, minor 7 triad. We don't like to say minor twice, it's redundant. So we're just going to call that a C minor 7 chord. Okay. The third most common root position 7th chord. We're going to go back to a C major triad again. C in the root, E natural, and G. So we have that C major triad again, but this time we're going to throw that flat 7 on top, which is a B flat, our minor 7. So this time we have a C major with a minor 7 triad. C major, minor 7. C, E, G, B flat. So a third different version of our 7 chord. Sounds like this. We don't always really want to say all of that, even though we do have to specifically know that it's a C major minor 7. So we're also going to simplify that name and just call that chord a C7. It's different than a C major 7, and it's different than a C minor 7. It's a C7, also known as a C dominant 7, because that chord in a major scale is found over the dominant scale degree. We're going to talk about that in the next lesson. C7. And our fourth most common 7 chord is going to be root, flat 3, flat 5, and flat 7. So we're going to have the notes C, E flat, G flat, and B flat. If you remember from the last lesson, the triad C, E flat, G flat made what we called a C diminished triad. C minor with a flat 5. Okay, so we added that little diminished symbol. Now we have a C diminished triad with a minor 7 on top. C, E flat, G flat, B flat, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. That chord is known as a C half diminished 7. Okay, and to make it a half diminished, what you do is put a little line through that diminished symbol. Okay, that indicates half diminished. And the reason why it's half diminished is because it has a minor 7 on top. This chord is also known as, especially in jazz lingo, as a C minor 7 flat 5. It's a C minor chord here from dyad from C to E flat. It's a C minor 7 from C to B flat with a flat 5 on top of the root there. So there's two different names for that chord. C half diminished 7, C minor 7, flat 5. Here's what that chord will sound like. C, E flat, G flat, B flat. That chord's known as a C minor 7, flat 5, or C half diminished 7. There are more versions of seventh chords. These four particular flavors of the chord are the most common. C major 7, C minor 7, C7, and C minor 7 flat 5, or C half diminished 7. Okay? In the next lesson, we'll talk about their function within a key.